What's that note? Tell Hassan Piker I don't have time to come on his channel. I'm simply too big now.
Oh, hi there, guys.
You might have heard about what's going on in Afghanistan. That's been in the news lately, and there's a lot of funny clips and funny news stories about it. So let's get in our learning car and learn about it.
Nice, eh? Hey, let's learn some f***ing crap.
So, of course, across all the media, of course, the absolute funniest commentary is always going to be Benjamin. What's this guy's name? Benjamin Pepino. He's some kind of a YouTuber or something. 338,000 views in one day on this one.
And what's most incredible about this is that our doddering fool of a president, and he is a fool, he did this for no reason. None. There was no rational reason for him to do what he did.
I mean, of course, his whole channel is bizarre, but this one's really bizarre. This one really makes us all go. Guys like Ben Pepino, he hates his own audience. And part of that just is disgusted by them, is he assumes they're not going to remember like 6 months ago or 7 months ago, when the guy that Ben Pepino loves and all his viewers love was saying, we're going to be out of here by Christmas. We're going to be out of here by Christmas, okay?
The U.S. President Donald Trump says he wants all U.S. troops to leave Afghanistan by Christmas.
I'll have them home by the end of the year.
I mean, it really is just assuming that their audiences are idiots. Remember when the guy that we love was saying, oh, we're going to get out of that, we're getting all the troops out of there in the next, 20 minutes? That was good. Now it's bad. Now it's bad.
Inflation is here. It is coming faster than the government was prepared for. Their solution is to spend a lot more money. So don't stick your head in the sand the same way they are. Instead, hedge your savings against inflation by diversifying into gold and silver with Birch Gold Group.
Benjamin Q. Pepino hates all this government spending, this big government spending.
When you give people free crap for no reason, they spend the money on stupid crap. Okay. Case in point. This is from the Wall Street Journal today. Financially hobbled for life. The elite master's degrees that don't pay off. Columbia and other top universities push master's programs that fail to generate enough income for grads to keep up with six-figure federal loans. So, many people are asking, how could Columbia push such programs? My question is, why is the federal government subsidizing this garbage? Here is the piece from Melissa Korn and Andrea Fuller. Recent film program graduates of Columbia University who took out federal student loans had a median debt of $181,000. Yet 2 years after earning their master's, half of the borrowers were making less than $30,000 a year. Okay, so here's the question. What bank would subsidize this? Seriously, if you're a banker and somebody walks in and they're like, man, I like avant-garde film.
They're giving all these incentives to people to go to college and learn about filmmaking. Disgusting! The Afghan war cost $2 trillion. Interest will pinch every American. The cost is even greater in terms of lives lost.
Man, I like avant-garde film.
Also remember, in 2019, the Afghanistan Papers came out, which unequivocally said this is a waste of money and time and lives, this whole thing. So when it comes to wasting $2 trillion on a pointless, deadly, decrepit, disgusting quagmire, yay, make it rain! Yay! I'm for the small government. Except for throw money down the toilet on a thing that's only causing problems. Let me weigh this out, huh? People want to go to college to learn about filmmaking or learn about whatever crap, or getting a bunch of people killed for no reason and throwing money down the toilet in a thing that was always going to end this way. I'm Ben Pepino. I got hit in the head with a brick. I mean, just to really hammer this home, let's just look at this. $2 trillion on this thing. 1.6 trillion, and that's a big estimate. Cancel student loan debt. We could have canceled student loan debt. By the way, needing the money to pay for it, whatever, it's a scam. But if we're going to whine about not having enough money, 1.6 trillion could have canceled student loan debt. 7 billion, universal 4-year college. 60 billion, universal pre-K. 40 billion, insulin for every diabetic. 20 billion, end homelessness in the USA. No, I think we made the good choice. I think we spent the money on the good choice. If Benjamin J. Pepino was in charge of your family's finances, I think he would spend 99% of that money on a gold-plated diaper. And then he'd be like, well, we simply don't have enough money for food and shelter and mattresses. I'm very smart and I am giving a good contribution.
What bank would subsidize this? Seriously.
That's why I sleep on a
Bed made of money. Bed made of money.
all the big news networks like CNN and whatever other crap, they're having a really good time with this. But of course, the funnest, the wackiest, the ones that are like the Fox News and like the melting versions of Fox News, which is what's the other one, like Newsmax and all this stuff. They are having the most fun with this.
So our government's official position is that American lives are not more valuable than the lives of foreigners. Beat a kid in Walmart. But you already knew that because you've seen our southern border. The people who made the Afghan occupation possible would like to see a lot more of our southern border, much more unrestrained immigration to the U.S. Bring in the refugees, they're screaming tonight. That's the only lesson they're taking from this debacle.
So yeah, this is pretty much the entire wacky, bizarro world right-wing media take, is that this was a 20-year plot
to let brown people in?
It's because these, the average age of these, right-wing things are these right-wing news networks. The average age, I actually looked this up. Actually, I have the stat here. It's 20 past dead. Actually, in the stats area for the age for the average Fox News viewer, it just says error because it's too high. But these channels are just they're just horror movies for the elderly. It's like their version of like Hereditary. They're like, oh, I get a little tingly fear because of those people moving in next to me. This guy named Steve Cortez, who's like answered a Craigslist ad to be on one of these like Newsmax or whatever. And he says in this tweet, raise your hand if you want this plane landing in your town. And it's an airplane with a bunch of people, I guess from Afghanistan. With these guys, who knows? It could be some stock picture that they found. It's a picture of an airplane with a bunch of people in it. These people are coming to buy up all the PlayStations. 4 or 5s. What is it? 4 or 5s? The 5s. So you should be afraid. 120-year-old viewer who, in this story that I made up, loves to play video games. My 120-year-old viewer, please be scared. Get a little tingle. Have a little good time. Have a little good time enjoying the sort of excitement of being afraid of other people.
Everyone's scared. Everyone's scared. Everyone's scared.
This is another funny one of like, we have to stay there. We have to stay there forever. This was today. The Taliban are sitting on $1 trillion worth of minerals. This is from CNN. The Taliban are sitting on $1 trillion worth of minerals the world desperately needs. Gotta go back, guys. Come on, get your crap. Get that backpack.
Get that backpack back on. We're going back to pick up all that, quartz?
We actually found out that they got a bunch of healing crystals over there. You put them on your tuchis and you'll feel better.
Our hunt for any terrorist activity is not just confined to Afghanistan.
I have to say, I do remember the time when this whole thing first started, when George W. Bush was like, oh, we're going to send troops over there after 9/11. And the people who were really just swept up, who were just emotionally driven and swept up by post 9/11 fear and just like confusion or whatever, anger, were like, yeah, or what? They were just like, we don't question our president, like Britney Spears. I just trust my president. There was a lot of that. But people who were kind of looking at this objectively were like, what exactly are we going to do over there? I remember David Cross actually had a joke where he was like, it was something along the lines of like, fighting a war on terrorism is like fighting a war on jealousy. And if you look at the Afghan papers, it seems like that's kind of like he had a point. Because it's a lot of just like, yeah, we don't really know why are we here again? What are we doing? Oh, we're trying to fight like a global idea. We're trying to fight a decentralized idea. This is pretty funny. This has been going around on Twitter by this guy Lee Fang, who's a reporter. And he tweeted out this thing about, this is just like a taste of like the waste that was going on in this thing with Afghanistan. Here's a $760,000 contract for gym equipment in Afghanistan. And he put all the documents here. $760,000 for this gym. Which I used to work at a place that had a gym like this that nobody used because it was too crappy. But yeah, I'll put a link to this. The original Washington Post story about the Afghanistan papers is behind a paywall now. Because with the Washington Post, if you ain't paying, we ain't playing. That's their new catchphrase. What was their original catchphrase was like, things die in the dark that you don't know about. Or whatever. Monsters are in the dark. There's a goblin in the dark. That would be a funnier one. But their new slogan for the internet age, for the social media age is, you ain't paying, we ain't. But I'll put a link to a kind of interesting summary of the report. The report titled, quote, Lessons Learned, unquote, estimates that 40% of U.S. aid to Afghanistan since 2001 ended up in the pockets of corrupt officials, warlords, criminals, and insurgents.
Man, I like avant-garde film.
Money well spent. Money well spent, because, like, honestly, to forgive all that student debt and all that crap, it's like people will be, when people have it too good, they become not creative and their art suffers, I believe. Like, the greatest painters had the most student debt, and Van Gogh had so much student debt that he cut his ear off. I think he cut his penis off too. I could be wrong on that one, but I'm probably right. But that's how his art became so good. If we're making people's lives too easy with all this crap of like, hey, you don't have to drag around all this debt, and you can't get your insulin shot and all this stuff, and you don't have a home to live in. Homeless people are the best artists. Were and are the best artists. Basquiat famously lived in a dumpster.
Corporate communism.
That's
corporate communism.
To not have people in all that student debt. I'm sorry. Okay?
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Man, I like avant-garde film. And I want to go to Colombia.
And, this is a good thing to get out of there. So a lot of people are like, wow, Biden did the right thing. And there's a lot of people who I admire and who are much smarter than me who are saying, wow, Biden did the right thing. Maybe he did the right thing because he doesn't know where he is. Maybe he's just such a decrepit fossil that he doesn't really know what's going on. He doesn't have anything to lose. Even though I do think this is the right thing, and of course I support this, I'm still very skeptical and just assuming that these people are just up to no good, which I think has been proven over and over again. But one thing, it's interesting. In one of the interviews that I was looking at, Trump was saying how he's like, we gotta get out of there because we got bigger problems in China. We got bigger problems in China, and so that's a little scary too. That's a little bit scary because it seems like, they've talked about this thing for the past 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever years of the pivot to Asia. This really is an amazing article, and I would suggest anybody read it. It's pretty short. It's from a guy named Ho Fung Hong. He's a professor, and he wrote this thing in Jacobin about, here's the title. The U.S.-China rivalry is about capitalist competition. Many Chinese state-owned construction machine makers obtained these credits, so the Chinese government gave a bunch of loans, basically, to these companies to ramp up their production of knockoff versions of Caterpillar machines, like construction machines, based on U.S. models, and sold them at much lower prices. These Chinese state-owned companies were squeezing out American companies in the Chinese market, and now they were squeezing out American companies in the international market in the developing world. As such, the new competition from Chinese corporations was the impetus behind the American corporations' shift on China. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that it kind of started off, the U.S. relationship with China was like, the U.S. was like, we can go in there and make a bunch of money from China with all our crap, selling all our crap and making our crap and all this. But now China's making their own crap, coming up with their own crap. So now they are becoming very serious competitors in what we call selling crap to people. So this is his conclusion. The dynamics of US-China rivalry is an inter-imperial rivalry driven by inter-capitalist competition. This is why I'm a little bit hesitant about oh, Joe Biden's doing the good ideas. Joe Biden's doing this because he is pure. But there has been a ton of red scare. Oh, China's going to attack the US. China's a threat. China's a threat. There's a lot of this kind of language all over the place, bipartisan, not just absolutely melted, demented lunatics like Ben Pepino. Hey, everybody out there in America, get those pants doing this about China. They are scary. Admit it. Admit it, they're scary. I mean, where even is that, China? Have you ever been there? Probably not. So, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing ideas out there. I'm an ideas guy, and my idea right now is I don't believe China exists, actually.
When he says China is a threat, what do they mean? Chinese telecommunication companies like Huawei and ZTE are perhaps a generation ahead of US telecommunications companies. And rather than compete, in a, as it were, free market with these companies, the United States government is using immense military pressure, diplomatic pressure, and a sort of information war to push China back into its boundaries.
But I do want to dedicate this
Party
to a guy who, I don't know, I saw this on Twitter, that a guy who was president apparently at one point, this guy, George Bush, former U.S. President Bush expresses, quote, deep sadness, unquote, over Afghan situation. And remember we were talking about how artists need to feel problems. All the best art comes from times of problems, of strife, And so that my theory is that George W. Bush, he's a painter now, and he was a painter the whole time, and he kind of started this whole thing to get inspiration. Does that make sense? It does make sense, but I'm just rhetorically does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? Is what I'm saying. Are you able to grasp the sort of profound things that I say on this channel? That's on you. That's on the community. It really takes a village to understand. On this channel, we have a saying, which is, it takes a village to teach people to understand what I'm saying. Okay? So from
Arun Brown.
You're welcome.
Bye. Hey everybody, and thanks so much for watching this video. Like all the other YouTube and podcast perverts, I now have a Patreon. Every week on this Patreon, I'm uploading 2
Exclusive
Patreon exclusive shows. They're like real shows, more produced, more edited.
A behind-the-scenes show where I reveal all my secrets, and a show where we go deep on an important topic that you will want to know about. Also, you get the daily and complete live show audio-only feeds. And at the top level, for only 25 bones, you can become a producer. These people that you're seeing right here make this program possible. Without them, nothing. It goes right in the toilet, right in the trash, and we set it on fire. Ooh, these are the most beautiful people of my whole life. Look at these people. Are you kidding me? Yeah, right. Good, nice try. Good, nice try. Good, nice try. It's these people who make it work. So please, for Christ's sake, become a patron. Bye-bye. I love you.